Hello, Capricorn, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of March 15th through the 21st. And during that time, we have the waning crescent moon that comes in from last week, and that's a time of stability and calm, a good time for us to be thoughtful and think about how we want to grow in the next period coming up. So we're going to be self-reflecting about those things because that new moon starts on the 19th. And of course, that's a time for a fresh start, new beginnings, good time for us to learn a new skill or start any projects that we might want to, things we want to work on, be it inner or outer, also to make new decisions. And then the waxing crescent comes right after that. That's a time of heightened senses, a good time for us to buckle down and start to work on those things that we've decided to do on the new moon. The projects for the coming period of time is what I'm trying to say, the cycle. Anyway, so that's keep those moon energies in mind is all I'm trying to say for that week. I don't know where my brain went off there on a tangent. Anyway, this will be an intuitive general reading for the energies you may or may not encounter, Capricorn. So as always, please take what resonates today and leave what doesn't on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is that your commitment is being tested. Okay, let's see what is going on with Capricorn that has me all tongue-tied this week, and hopefully that won't continue through the reading, but that or my mind just drifted off there somewhere. You ever start to say something and your mouth goes one way and your mind goes another? So, all right, as I'm shuffling the tarot, Capricorn, my fun weekly reminder this week is that you watch the world for synchronicities. So this could be an animal that you don't encounter every day. This could be an overheard song or conversation. This could be a repeating number pattern, and if you see numbers, if you start to see a certain number repeating constantly, and this could be like, on a receipt that you get or on your something on your radio dial or the clock. I see things on license plates and billboards and that sorts of thing all the time. So it's just the universe's way of speaking to you. So try to pay attention to those things. And those are little breadcrumbs that the universe is offering you as a way to follow to get to some information that you might need. So keep those synchronicities at the forefront of your mind. It's a little language. Once you start seeing it, it starts increasing and you can't unsee those things. So anyway, let's get right into this reading. Capricorn, March 15th through the 21st, your commitment is being tested. Your present energy right now is the Two of Wands. So here you are achieving a goal. You've gotten somewhere and you're kind of thinking about the future. So is that maybe where your commitment to something is being tested? Because this is kind of one of those, okay, done with that, let's move on. That's kind of that energy is like, well, did that, let's go. What's next? So let's see what might be next as these cards come out. Your current situation is you've got a lot of choices. So I call this a big luxury. Having choices like this especially when you're at a crossroads of making a decision about how your future might move, having choices like this is definitely a luxury. The less choices, as your choices are narrowed, sometimes you only have a certain amount of things, but you've got all these choices, all these different ways you could go. Some of them, if you look at everything on this card, some of them better than others. So you do want to take the time to be a little pensive and choose wisely about your next decision. At the root of your situation right now is the King of Wands. So it looks like the root of this is you really want to drive whatever your passions are. Like the thing that you want to choose is the thing that you're most passionate about. And that could be a hard decision. There might be many things like this choice card, many, many things that you're passionate about. But I guess you kind of just want to narrow those choices down. I'm always good about taking a pen to paper and if there's 3 or 4 different things, I start listing pros and cons and just start weighing those decisions out. In your recent past, here is the Page of Swords. So there in your recent past, there might have been a new idea or a new fresh thing that you were trying, something you're thinking about that hasn't really come to fruition yet, but that might be on this choice card. It's one of those things that you're kind of thinking about as a direction, and it might have been something that, or sometimes we're surprised by life because there's kind of a time where you think, oh, this is kind of how I'm going to lay out the goals of my life. And you turn around 10 years later and you think that went such a weird, different direction because of this thing I didn't know about it, or this person that I met, or this job that I took, or this place that I moved to. And it's just how it changes our life. And that's, so there might be something that's in your recent past that's kind of sticking in your craw a little bit, making you think about making a change in the direction towards that. So take some time to think about what that might be. What's on your mind this week is the Eight of Swords here. So, is there some situation that you need to think your way out of? And again, if your commitment is being tested, this could be that I'm going to use the example of, let's say that you're at a particular job and you've really enjoyed doing this job, and you've reached some goals, and you're very passionate about it. You like where you work, but you're kind of thinking, now that I've got this experience under my belt, I could take this to 7 different companies and do the same thing at different companies. So maybe I want to stay there, and maybe that is your commitment being tested, your commitment to that company. And you're thinking, well, and what are those decisions? Well, this company will offer me more money. Where this one, there are people there that I like to work with. This one is more recognition. So there might be negatives and positives to those different things, and can you think your way out of that? Can you think your way clearly? And again, pen to paper, if you have to do pros and cons, that's a great way to kind of just think through all of the different factors that go into whatever this decision is that you need to make right now. What is just ahead of you this week is the Page of Wands. So a new idea, and here you are cultivating a new passion. And it looks like at the root of this is you want to live a more passion driven life. You want to make sure that when you wake up in the morning, you're excited about where you're going, and that's not the case for everybody, and sometimes that takes time to get to. I have kids that are in their 20s, and I tell them, you do have to pick something that you want to be passionate about. And because that's a fun feeling, is to wake up and think, oh, I get to go do this thing today, right? And so, but this looks like this might even be a new budding passion for you. But it looks like you're trying to make those decisions that are right for, so that you're excited about your life, so that it's not just the drudgery of every day. Oh, now I get to get up and go to this place, which can happen. So definitely cultivate whatever this new passion or this new feeling is for you. What is in your advice position is the Ace of Pentacles. So, what might help you now is some new financial opportunity that comes in. Now, is this just money that comes in that gives you the leisure to look around? It could be many different things, but it looks like go ahead and take that opportunity, and also let this be a part of, make sure you're not moving somewhere where financially it's just a straight line, like you're going to make the same amount of money. You may want to look at where you can make more pentacles. So, use this as a stepping stone for that, because why wouldn't you do that? Because, right? So, the advice is maybe look for more money, as well as all those other things that you're thinking about as well. What is beyond your control this week is the Four of Cups. So a little bit of dissatisfaction, and probably kind of about where you are. And it's beyond your control. It's kind of seeped in there. And that's probably what started this whole process anyway, of you wanting to look beyond where you are right now. So it could be any number of things. The world is changing in such a strange way right now, of course, when it comes to things like jobs. So just make sure that what you're picking is something that you're passionate about, and maybe it has more money involved with it as well. What is your secret desire, or what are you trying to avoid? Is the Knight of Pentacles, which is action. So hopefully it is your secret desire to, like I said, take that action and get on your horse and go find extra pentacles. So do you want to base everything based on money? Probably not. I mean, you definitely, at the root of this is this King of Wands, who's definitely about making sure that you are fired up and you are passionate about it. But sometimes with that just comes the extra money, and that's just the way life works. And that's awesome. It's an awesome way that it works. In your outcome position is the Five of Cups here. So the outcome for you is maybe, and I call this, when it's this kind of thing and it's changes like this, that if there's a little bit of dissatisfaction, there might be also some sadness with having to make this change. And here's usually, I feel like when it comes to, if it is a job related thing, it's almost like, yeah, you want to move ahead, but there's people and connections that you've made, and it's almost on your mind to be thinking about, oh well, now I'm not going to see these people every day who I really like. But true friends come with you to the next job. And I don't mean they physically get up and come to your job, but true friends hang with you, and you're still going to be able to get together and hang out with those people. It may not be day to day, but those are relationships that you've built, and those will, if they're true and real, they will stay as a connection over the long haul. So don't forget that, this five, even though there's a little sadness and being pensive about it, there's two cups at your back of cups of support and people that are going to be there for you no matter what. So let's see, trying to see if we had any repeats of numbers here, and I don't see any here. So let's see what's hidden from you at the bottom of the deck is the Six of Pentacles, which is about giving and receiving. So that's not really at the top of your mind. Although, I always think too, when you look at acquiring, especially if it's more money, that does put you in a better position to give and give back. So it's not something that you'll be doing this week, but it might be something that is on your mind later. And it's always something that I think we should think of when making those sorts of changes, is those, you know are you in a position then, if you can make more money, to help someone else, or to be a little bit more charitable with your time and money. So all right, let's see a final word here from the Soul Oracle deck. Let's see, your commitment is being tested. And yeah, again, this could be a work situation, but it is something, again, thinking about your future and just the choices that you're going to make about it. I used work as an example, but tarot is a template. So remember that can template over so many different situations. So, all right, let's get a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck for Capricorn, March 15th through the 21st. And the card is Accept What is Dying. Okay, so if you feel like you're done, when you're done, right? We're all like that. That there's just a time sometimes when, again, if it's your commitments being tested, or you're just kind of done with the thing, right? It's just time to move on. It's time to make a move. If your life's starting to just feel dull, and again, like it's just the same old thing over and over, that you do want to make new decisions that are more based in passion. All right, what do you need to do in the way of self-care this week, Capricorn? Self-care for Capricorn this week, and this card wanted to turn right over, so we will take it. And it's the card called Self. If beating yourself up worked, you'd be thin, rich, and happy. Try loving yourself instead. Wasn't that the truth? So yeah, love yourself and take care of yourself, and think about, it's okay to be selfish when we're making these decisions a little bit. I mean, there's always other factors and things that you do have to take in when you're making these choices like this, but really it comes down to, how do you want to spend your day to day? What things do you want to cultivate, that are exciting, that are about these wands and about cultivating growth and passion, and things that make you excited to get up every morning. So Capricorn, thank you so much for being here. I hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use in a positive way in your life this week. If you're comfortable sharing, what these choices might be, or what decision point you are at, I would be very interested to see all the different answers from different Capricorns. So also, if you have a question about this reading, pop it in the comments. I'd be happy to answer that for you. And if you like my reading style, hitting that like and subscribe button is really helpful to me. It just helps push me out into the algorithm, which I appreciate so much. And it'll help you find me next week, and you can come back and see where your story is going then. So thanks so much, Capricorn. Good luck with this, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.